In Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, 16 people died in a car bomb explosion last night. The target was the Green Village, a compound housing mainly international workers. Today, Afghans protested outside the compound, demonstrating against the foreign presence in their country. The Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack, even as they participate in peace talks with the United States. NewsHour special correspondent Jane Ferguson is on assignment in Afghanistan. She's been talking to civilians and officials in Kabul today, and she joins us now. Hello, Jane. How significant is it, do you think, that this attack took place just as we are told the Taliban and the U.S. are making progress on this potential peace deal?
Hi, Judy. It's no coincidence that we've seen a massive uptick in violence in recent weeks and indeed recent days here. They are peace talks, of course, between the United States and the Taliban, but the Taliban have wanted to maintain pressure and to remind both the United States and the Afghan government here in Kabul of their strength. We've seen shows of strength throughout the weekend while those talks were right down to the 11th hour. Two provincial capitals, both Kunduz and Puli Kumri, both saw assaults by the Taliban, and then, of course, yesterday's enormous bombing. It has been a controversy around or surrounding these talks that they go on while there isn't actually a ceasefire at this time. But we have seen a breakthrough with the U.S. Special Envoy to those talks, Zalmay Khalilzad, arriving here to tell the Afghan people that there has been, in principle, an agreement.
So, Jane, how much is actually known about what's in this deal, the details?
It's extremely murky at this stage. The Afghan people don't know for sure what's going to happen, and it will massively affect their future. But Khalilzad did go on television. He went on national Afghan television on Tolo TV yesterday, and he gave away some details of the proposed agreement. Of course, he reminded everybody that it isn't official until President Trump signs it himself. But he said that initially there would be a 5,000 troop drawdown. Now, that's from 14,000 American troops, and that effectively 5 U.S. bases would be vacated. And that's really the start of what we're starting to see as a drawdown. But there are still many, many questions about what's not been mentioned about what could be in this deal, such as whether or not there will be any kind of ceasefire. He said that there would be a reduction in violence, but specifically did not use the word ceasefire. So there's a huge amount of uncertainty here in Kabul until people really find out what is in the proposed agreement and whether or not it will become the final text.
And Jane, finally, what about public attitudes? You say there's uncertainty. What is the public saying to you, people saying to you about the fact that this could actually happen?
It depends very much so, Judy, on who you're talking to. Now, you pointed out earlier there that there were riots after that bombing yesterday, and they were very much so angry demonstrations against a Western presence in that part of Kabul, and that's because people have seen so much bloodshed. Of course, we must remember that thousands of American lives have been lost in this war, but many more thousands of Afghan lives have been lost. And so there is a sense of anger whenever the Taliban are targeting Westerners and Afghans die. We've seen a huge uptick in Afghan civilian deaths just in the last few weeks and months, with some quite shocking violence. So people here really, really want peace. They want an end to this war, but there is a severe fear. There's a very real fear that any American withdrawal, and this is particularly strong whenever you're talking to officials in the government here, could be too hasty. People want to make sure that the Americans don't leave in a way that could cause the Afghan government to collapse or could endanger the Afghan security forces that the Americans and their partners here have spent so much time and energy and money building up. So there's a sense that, of course, they want a deal and they want an end to this war, but they want to make sure it's one that's done responsibly.
Hard to believe the U.S. has been there now almost 18 years. Jane Ferguson reporting from Kabul. Thank you, Jane.